It's time for Wes Strader's Sportsline on ESPN Radio 102.7. Sportsline is a locally produced sports talk show that focuses on high school and WKU as well as regional athletes who play at the next level. Sportsline was originated by Hall of Fame sportscaster Wes Strader. Now with a new version of Sportsline, here's Garret Browning on ESPN Radio 102.7.
Good evening to you sports fans and welcome to the Sportsline. Once again here on ESPN 102.7 FM, ESPN Radio 102.7.com. I'm Garret Browning at Garret Browning 5 if you want to reach out on Twitter during the show and yell about those Tennessee Titans, 35-32 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, I'm going to be gloating about that throughout the hour, and while I can, because we got a bye week and then we go back to divisional games, and we know what that brings. Back below 500, get back to 500. It's a constant thing. We'll get back to that later. We've got a lot of Hilltoppers stuff to get to. Look, it was a clean sweep this weekend. Obviously, Tennessee on Sunday finished it off, but WKU volleyball winners at number 17, Rice, in a top 25 Conference USA matchup on the road in Houston, Texas. They get a 5-set thriller of a victory. They moved up to number 18 in the AVCA poll. That's American Volleyball Coaches Association. 26-1 on the season, 12-0 in Conference USA. 2 more home games coming up this weekend that we'll also be talking about. We got a pack EA diddle for these ladies coming up Thursday and Saturday. Thursday at 6 and Saturday at noon versus La Tech and UAB. I'll be there Thursday. I'm not sure if I can make it Saturday just yet, but they have a chance to clinch the Conference USA regular season title. That's what happens when you go undefeated in the conference with 2 games left and 26-1 overall. Just a ridiculous start for the WKU volleyball team. We've got the Lady Tops victors on the road in Georgia against Mercer, 75-62 this past weekend. WKU basketball over Austin P, 97-75. And I haven't even mentioned an SEC victory for the WKU football team, 45-19. They just manhandled SEC foe Arkansas, the Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll talk all Hilltopper sports coming up next. We've got our buddy SID Zach Greenwell in the studio now. We'll take a quick break, come back with you here on the Sportsline, ESPN Radio.
Every room in your home, whatever it needs, United Furniture.
It's that time of year again. United Furniture's all-in-stock recliners, $3.99. That's right. Backed by popular demand, all-in-stock recliners, only $3.99. Choose from rockers, wallaways, wide seat, swivel, massage, fabric, microfiber, durable in leather, and yes, even leather recliners. All-in-stock recliners, $3.99. United carries the absolute best selection of recliners in South Central Kentucky, with 65 recliners on United's showroom floor and over 120 in stock, ready to deliver when you want it. So don't miss United Furniture's all-in-stock recliners, $3.99. First come, first serve while they last. Providing in-store financing and service with a smile, only at United Furniture and Appliance, 10th and State Street, downtown Bowling Green.
United Furniture. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Every time it rains, think about what goes down the drains. Everything that's on the ground, trash, cigarette butts, motor oil, all of it washes directly into our streams, rivers, and lakes. It's very simple if you want to keep enjoying Kentucky's waterways and protect them for our children. We all need to help keep them clean. To find out what you can do, visit stormwater.ky.gov. Brought to you by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet.
Get a jump on your Christmas shopping with our half-price gift cards. You can get $50 gift cards for just $25. Half-price gift cards available now to the new Smug Beagle in downtown Bowling Green, Griddle's Country Cooking in Scottsville, plus Mancino's and Southern Lanes. All $50 gift certificates are just $25. Order by phone at 1-877-842-1007 or in person at our studios on Campbell Lane beside Marty and Liz Shoes.
During the BMW Road Home Sales Event, fuel the drive to end hunger at Luxury Imports of Bowling Green. Test drive any new BMW on Luxury Imports lot November 12th through 16th, and BMW will donate 200 meals to Feeding America, plus you'll receive a $1,000 credit towards select BMW models. Take a test drive for a good cause and join BMW and Luxury Imports in ending hunger this holiday season. November 12th through 16th at Luxury Imports of Bowling Green, 325 Three Springs Road, online at bmwofbowlinggreen.com. When the whistle blows, it's on at Buffalo Wild Wings of Bowling Green. Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays during primetime football, 2-minute drills are back. During the 2-minute warning in the first half, catch $2 Fireball and Jameson shots. And during the 2-minute warning in the second half, it's $2 pints to start the victory party or quench the heat of defeat. Check out the Blaze and Rewards app, picks and props this season for a chance to win a trip to Vegas. And all October, Buffalo Wild Wings supports Team Up for Kids, raising money for youth sports jerseys for local teams. Buffalo Wild Wings of Bowling Green, 2545 Scottsville Road.
Local Sports Center update here on the Sportsline, ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio1027.com. A happy Veterans Day to all our veterans out there listening on the airwaves. Thank you for your service. This day's for you, so hopefully you're having a good one so far. A Victory Monday if you're a fan of the Tops, so that's always a good start to the week. We went through all those scores during the last break. Coming up this week, the Lady Tops host Belmont on Wednesday, 6 o'clock. The men are back in action. That's the men Hilltoppers after their win over Austin Peay on the road in Richmond Friday at 6 o'clock. Good old rivalry game versus Eastern Kentucky. I know if Wes Strader was still talking on these airwaves right now that he would bring up that 1 second in Richmond, Kentucky that the Tops just didn't have for some reason. I don't know what exactly happened, but I know Wes would still be fired up about that 1 second in Richmond, Kentucky. And don't forget the volleyball team Thursday and Saturday. Last two home matches of the regular season to catch a ridiculous 26-1 WKU volleyball squad, 12-0 in Conference USA, number 18 in the country. So make sure you go out and support the volleyball squad this Thursday and Saturday, 6 o'clock versus La Tech, and Saturday, noon versus UAB. We're welcoming in SID Hilltopper basketball, Mr. Zach Greenwell. I always ask when I bring on the SIDs or assistant athletic directors, did I get your name right? Is that the official name you go by?
You got it.
All right.
That works. I go by many names. Some of them nice, some of them not so nice. So I'll take SID.
You know what I learned this week? Brett Williams let me know that there's a manager on the Lady Topper basketball team that also is named Zach Greenwell. That's got to be a little confusing.
It's causing some problems. Actually, Olivia Higgins, our assistant AD for marketing, is actually teaching a class on campus in the sport management program, and she came to me early and she goes, I got my class list and I have a Zach Greenwell in there. She thought I was
taking another credit,
an entry-level sport management program just to keep tabs on stuff.
Hey, you're always working hard. I wouldn't doubt it, man. WKU basketball this Saturday, big winners over Austin Peay, 97-75. WKU football had a homecoming with Ty Story, and so did Jared Savage a little bit for the WKU basketball team going up against his former team in Austin Peay. And, of course, he plays here in PG, so it's always a homecoming in a certain stretch.
Yeah. He had 2 great years there, and it was an all-around great win. I think they got some of the jitters out from the first game, and we were really going back and looking at it today, and you look at some of the things they did, shooting 60% from the field, 52% from 3. They make 26 of 29 free throws. When you start looking at some of the analytics, the Ken Palm stuff that people really like to look at, one of our better efficiency offensive games in many, many years.
People always like to take away things from hysteria that we make over-exaggerations from the first time we see a team on the court.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, man. And I kind of made one in my own head. I felt like this team had a lot more shooters on it than maybe in the past 2 years, maybe consistent shooters. Cam Justice, Carson Williams, I think another year of Tay Hollingsworth shooting the basketball. Obviously, Jared Savage. And we didn't really see that through the exhibition Tennessee Tech. Well, all of a sudden, you saw it on Saturday night. We've got some shooters on the team.
Yeah, I think there's definitely shooters, and beyond that, there's a lot of guys who can score in a variety of ways. I think that's one thing we're really seeing. This team has maybe a lot more dynamics to it than some of our teams in the past. We have good outside shooters. You've got some people that are really strong in the mid-range game. Obviously, Charles is a beast down low, and you've got new elements like some of the stuff that Carson Williams is able to do in the paint, second chance points, and really kind of bruise down there a little bit inside. So a lot of different ways to score, a lot of different things for teams to have to guard or try to shut down. I think that's definitely an added benefit.
On paper, it's a team that looks like they're built to make a good run this season for sure. Definitely through the regular season, hopefully throughout the postseason, headed into another NCAA tournament berth. They just have all those little pieces. A guy like Carson Williams that's going to do the dirty work for you, just a beast of a big man in Bassey. And then I think the one problem right now is maybe finding that true point guard. But they have a lot of guys that can handle the ball, just aren't necessarily natural point guards for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall the passing on this team, basketball IQ, seeing some of those plays is significantly higher in the past. I think a guy like Cam Justice helps a lot with that. Jordan Rawls is going to be great, in time. He just needs time. Coach Stansbury says it all the time. The only time will cure anything for him. And he had a really good game on Saturday as well. I think he had 5 assists and 8 points, knocked down 2 threes in about 20, 25 minutes a game. So he'll come along the way, but no, 2 games in, I think there's a lot of good things and obviously a lot still to work on.
And I'm not getting you in trouble with Kenny Cooper, but the Kenny Cooper situation, it's just it's going to be a weird way to work around the roster until you officially get word on the graduate transfer from Lipscomb. Kenny Cooper is currently we haven't received word from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, that is what it is. That's not anything we can control. You turn that in, and like a lot of people around the country, we're waiting for word on what will happen with that waiver. I think there's several dozen of those still out around the country. So, sounds like what Coach would say, but they're not going to give you 5 extra points because you're waiting to hear on a waiver. You have to play with who you have. So I think Tavion's getting better every game out there in terms of learning his role there, and Jordan's coming along, and I think he'll be able to, in time, play a lot of point guard minutes there. They played together a lot the other night, with Tay sliding to the 2, and I think that was a pretty exciting lineup. So we've got a lot of different pieces we can move around, in the interim.
And you never want to say it's really a blessing to have a guy sitting on the bench, but sort of for a guy like Jordan Rawls, it could be a blessing in disguise, because if Kenny Cooper was eligible right now, he would probably be taking up a lot of the minutes that we see Jordan Rawls getting early on in his Hilltopper career.
Just like anybody, he's got to take advantage of what's given to him. You get an opportunity and you're a freshman guy, and you got to be able to seize it. And he got in the first game against Tennessee Tech, and he did some good things, but I think Coach was kind of on him a little bit about defense and guarding ball screens. Those quick guards from Tennessee Tech were able to get to the rim a little bit, and just some things that he hasn't dealt with at this level. And I think he was much better on Saturday against Austin Peay, and obviously offensively he was able to do a lot of good things.
We're talking with Zach Greenwell, Hilltopper SID men's basketball team. I know you always do a good job getting videos. You do a great job showcasing the players' personality, which I think a lot of fans on social media, that's what they want to see out of social media accounts, is kind of get to meet the players on a deeper basis. I always love seeing some of the dancers. Who is the new guy on the team that you think Hilltopper fans are going to start to fall in love with?
Ooh, for like personality wise,
probably personality, not just the play on the court.
Play on the court. I think I guess I'm trying to go through my mind. Who's the new? We have 3 new freshmen.
I guess Carson Williams counts, the newcomer, first time on the floor.
I knew fans were going to fall in love with Carson just because of the way he plays.
Yeah.
He plays so hard, and people have heard the quotes by now. I think Cam said he knows one speed and it's 100 miles an hour, and that's they get out of his way in practice. I mean, they have to. I mean, for their injury's sake, he is a bowling ball in terms of. Just crashing in and going after every rebound. So I knew that fans would love just everything that he stands for. But we've got great guys. All the personality on the new guys, the freshmen are great. Jordan's a great guy. Isaiah Kozar, Jackson Harlan, really bright, warm, welcoming kids. So I think as fans get to spend more time with all of those guys, they'll really like them.
It'll be just a little bit, because this Friday the Tops are on the road against Eastern Kentucky. The next home game will be Monday, November 18th, hosting Campbellsville at 7 o'clock. Of course, the Lady Toppers are at home Wednesday against Belmont, but we're sticking with the Hilltoppers for now. We'll have Brett Williams on later to break down a little Lady Tops and some volleyball action as well. But It's always a weird trip when you head up to Richmond, Kentucky. It's not the annual trip that it used to be, but it still holds that same meaning, I think, for both of the communities. What's that trip to Richmond like for you? I think, when was the last time we went up to Richmond? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was Coach Stansbury's first year.
Yeah.
And we actually lost that game. It was the first time we had lost up there to them in quite a while, and they were really into it, and I expect they will be again on Friday. They're doing something pretty cool. They're playing every Division I team in the state of Kentucky, and they've kind of marketed that a little bit as a tour, and I think that's great for the state. Like you said, it's not necessarily a rivalry that's played as much all again and across the sports like it used to be. Maybe it doesn't have quite as much fire as it used to be, but I think there's a lot of people who are still really invested in us playing those kinds of games.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm all for playing the in-state rivals. Not to name any names, there are just people out there that are scared to play us, Kentucky. There we go. I threw it out there. But it just seems like it's better for all the fans in the state. I mean, even Kentucky fans, Louisville fans to a certain extent, they want to see those rivalries. Who wants to watch Kentucky play some Division II school from Nebraska when they could play Northern Kentucky in Rupp Arena and still have a great chance to win a game, but it just has more meaning in it in the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Eastern Kentucky's done a great job, just to give them credit, of marketing that campaign, of being able to get everybody on their schedule, and I think that elevates everybody. I think there's plenty of teams in the state we would love to play every year that our fans would be invested in, and I think that's always a great thing for the state. And I want to switch gears just a little bit. Again, Zach Greenwell, the Hilltopper basketball SID, in with us. But you were probably setting up for that Austin Peay game on Saturday when the Arkansas WKU football game. It was on the TV in the background while you guys were getting stuff done. Elliot Pratt, I got a shout out. He had a great story about Ty's story, kind of returning to Arkansas, his home state, and getting the job done against the Razorbacks. And I was trying to think. I don't know if I can remember just a better story, not to pun it up here, but I don't know. That one's been used a lot. Hasn't it? That one's been about running to the ground. It's hard to not say it, honestly, when you're talking about. But has there been a better narrative built by just a returning homecoming like that? I can't think of one off the top of my head, really. Yeah, I guess as a former sports writer, that's about as dream scenario as you could ask for. I'm sure Elliot was all about it, but no, that was a unbelievable win, after having two tough conference games the last, few weeks, to bounce back and have that kind of win and put yourself in a good position for these last two games is exciting to watch. And like you say, yeah, we were watching it in Diddle. Started out watching it with the team after they had shoot around. We were eating as a team in the locker room. The whole team, the basketball team, was watching the game, and then I headed back over to my office, and I think pretty much everybody that was working in the building had it on. So pretty fun to watch, and the timing worked out great. Like you said, it was 11 o'clock game, and it kind of led right into the basketball game, so it was a good Saturday for the Tops. It was an unbelievable weekend for the Tops, Lady Tops, and finally WKU volleyballs. They were winners at number 17 Rice this weekend. 5 sets. They were up 2 sets to nothing. Rice wins 2 straight sets, sends it to the 5th set, and the Toppers prevail. They have moved up to number 18 in the latest AVCA poll. And before we get you out of here, Zach, I definitely got to play this short clip from Coach Hudson. If you are a Topper fan and you have yet to be in a volleyball match in Diddle Arena, here is Hudson's plea for you.
I want to speak to that one, about people coming out this week. Look, I really want to put a challenge out to Hilltopper fans this week. These kids, they've been through a lot in the last 18 months. We dealt with a season last year where we had to overcome so many things and got dropped in the first round of the tournament. And for them to reestablish who we are and to put together the season they have, look, we have a great fan base that comes and watches our team play. But, if you're a Hilltopper fan, period, I'm challenging you to be in Diddle Arena on Thursday and Saturday. Thursday night, we have a chance to get a share of a regular season championship. And then if we do Saturday, we have a chance to win it outright. And, I'm a WKU basketball fan too. And I've been in Diddle and seen all those seats filled. And so I know there's enough people that wear the red and white that know their way to Diddle Arena. And so I'm asking, I'm in this community for a long time, and I have people come up to me all the time and, thank you for what you do and I'm telling you, if you're appreciative, come watch these kids play in their last 2 home matches. And, let them feel the support.
If you want the full clip, head to WKU Sports YouTube page. There was the presser today following that Rice victory for the WKU volleyball squad. And I just love that quote, Coach Hudson. He's been to all those basketball games. I have, you have. There have been packed crowds in EA Diddle Arena. There's a 26-1 volleyball team, top 25 in the country, undefeated in Conference USA, that plays this Thursday and Saturday. There's no reason that it shouldn't be packed for those ladies. I mean, just unreal season.
Yeah, I can't stress this enough, what this team has done this year. This match Sunday against Rice, maybe one of the biggest regular season matches in Conference USA history.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, between two ranked teams, I mean, it truly might be up there as the number one. And it lived up to that billing as a 5-set thriller. What they have done is just incredible. The consistency you have to play with. Their one loss came against a Louisville team that they played the same day they beat Arizona State. And Louisville was playing really well. I know they've had some injuries and they've trailed off a little bit, but that's still top 50, top 75 opponent. It is incredible the consistency with which they've played. So, Coach Hudson wouldn't say those things if he didn't mean it. I know it means a lot to them to have that support here. And, they're still capable of doing some really special things. I think they're up to 22 in the RPI. They're getting on that fringe of looking at some stuff for the NCAA tournament.
21 win match streak.
Yeah, I mean, the list of things that goes on, and Jessica Leifheit, our SID for volleyball, does an incredible job, and she's had plenty to work with this year in terms of stats and everything.
She's been
like
going
that.
through the media guide a couple of times.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's 6 o'clock on Thursday, noon on Saturday. I just don't want that to get overshadowed with the overlap with football and basketball and all those things. But volleyball is putting together a season that is one of the best we've seen here in any sport. So come out and support this week.
And you got no excuses because football bye week. The men, they play on Friday night,
yeah.
So you're open on Saturday afternoon. You're open on Thursday evening. There's no reason to get out to EA Diddle Arena and support the WKU volleyball team. Once again, 26-1, 12-0 in Conference USA. They had 3 more CUSA award winners this week, Briggs, Judene, and Lauren Matthews. I think you could just rename some of those awards, the Briggs Freshman of the Week Award or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, again, Jess has done a great job promoting them for those awards, but again, it makes your job easy. I know what that's like. Charles Bassey won a lot of Freshman of the Week awards last year, and it didn't have anything to do with me. It had to do with how dominant he was. So it's always great when you got a team that gives you a lot to promote.
Zach Greenwell joining us here in the studio, Hilltopper Basketball SID. Zach, thanks for stopping by, taking time, and remember to support those tops Friday night against Eastern Kentucky.
All right, I appreciate it, Garrett. Thanks.
Zach Greenwell joining us once again. We'll go to a break. When we come back, we'll be talking a little Lady Tops and a little more WKU volleyball with the voice of WKU volleyball and the Lady Tops. That's Mr. Brett Williams coming up next here on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio1027.com.
Looking for a bit of cowboy flavor? Introducing Hardee's Southwest Patty Melt. A hearty sandwich with all the taste of the great American Southwest. We're talking a hotter, juicier, thick burger made with 100% black Angus beef, pepper jack cheese, zesty Santa Fe sauce, and enough pickled jalapenos to give it a kick. If it got any more authentic, we'd have to serve it with a cactus and a side of tumbleweeds. The Southwest Patty Melt. Now at Hardee's. Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's. Hotter and juicier beef patty as compared to the Hardee's original beef patty.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Sean, what's up with the hole?
It's for my wife.
What?
I mean, my wife wants me to plant some trees.
You know you're breaking the law.
How's that?
You didn't contact 811 before digging, because I don't see any flags marking the underground utility lines.
Isn't that costly?
It will be if you cut or hit a utility line. The service is free, Sean, so I suggest you call 811 or go online to 811now.com before you dig yourself into a hole.
Get a jump on your Christmas shopping with our half-price gift cards. You can get $50 gift cards for just $25. Half-price gift cards available now to the new Smug Beagle in downtown Bowling Green, Griddle's Country Cooking in Scottsville, plus Mancino's and Southern Lanes. All $50 gift certificates are just $25. Order by phone at 1-877-842-1007 or in person at our studios on Campbell Lane beside Marty and Liz Shoes.
Think you can't afford a gym membership? Think again. Workout Anytime is offering a $10 a month membership. It's crazy madness. That's right, $10 a month. Workout Anytime wants all of Southern Kentucky to have a gym membership, regardless of your budget. Join a fitness-minded community for $10 a month with 24/7 access. Plus, check out their tanning beds. Get into your local Workout Anytime this week for this new low rate at $10 a month, only at Workout Anytime.
It's not luxury, it's fuel. And at Southern States, we know that when the temperature drops, the water needs heating. Or when it's dinner time, you need to know your tank is full. Count on Southern States to be your local propane supplier. Call today for a fill-up. Have a competitor's tank? No problem. Southern States offers a tank swap out at no cost to you. Call Southern States Co-op in Bowling Green, Franklin, and Russellville today and talk to them about taking care of your propane, heating oil, or diesel fuel for your home, farm, or business. Because empty is never an option.
Welcome back, Sportsline. At Garret Browning 5 on Twitter if you want to reach out during the show. Questions, concerns, or mistakes. That's the big one I always have to throw out there. As a welcome on Mr. Brett Williams, the voice of the Lady Toppers and WKU Volleyball on HSSN.
Yes, indeed. How are you, Garrett?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. This Victory Monday.
Yes, sir.
Not just for the Titans, all WKU. I mean, they swept it up this weekend.
This was a weekend of all weekends on the Hill. Everybody's a winner.
Of course, the Hilltopper men's basketball team winners over Austin P. WKU football just destroyed. I mean, that's an accurate description. Destroyed SEC foe Arkansas in Arkansas. Lady Tops. Of course, we're going to talk some Lady Toppers here with Brett Williams. 75-62 on the road against Mercer, a victory. And that score really doesn't indicate just how close that game was there in the fourth quarter, the final 5 or 6 minutes there.
That's correct. Really, after the beginning of the game in which the Lady Toppers got off to a hot start, Mercer started clawing back in and took the lead in the middle of the third quarter, and it was very closely played, really from the end of the first half all the way until the middle portion of that fourth quarter. But at the end, the Tops defense locked down, and they got some big shots on the other side and pulled away.
And the volleyball team, of course, Brett covers some of the home matches on HSSN, the Facebook page. It's free. You can watch a top 25 WKU volleyball team throughout the season on HSSN. Number 18 in the latest polls after their victory over number 17 Rice. I didn't get to watch it. I was at the Titans game on Sunday,
right.
Doing that thing. But I was keeping up with it on Twitter for sure. Just a 5-set thriller in Houston. I know they were up 2-0.
They were.
So how difficult is that on the road to all of a sudden you kind of lost that momentum of the first 2 sets to kind of take that back in the 5th set and come home with a match victory?
I felt pretty good about the Tops going into the 5th set because I think even though the momentum was on Rice's side, the pressure was also still on Rice, being that it was their senior day, playing at home, knowing that they had a chance. They obviously either one of these teams would end up in the driver's seat to take the regular season conference crown with the win yesterday. And so Rice realized, obviously, WKU has had the conference on lock up until last year. And so I still felt like any team is always going to feel that pressure if they have a chance to take down WKU. And so if I'm Travis Hudson, I said this to the people that I was watching out, had a little watch party out there on the west side of town. It's pretty awesome. But I said, yeah, that's what I'm sure Travis is telling the team right now is just, let's just play our game because, as he always says, every set is a new story, and you open something back up and you start at 0, and who knows what happens from there, and it looks like they embraced that.
I played a little tidbit from his presser earlier today. Again, WKU Sports YouTube page if you want to check out the full presser. Tyson Helton is also on there with that victory over Arkansas. And he made a really funny point during that match. He said when they were up 2-0, he got in the huddle and he told the girls, he was like, this is going to be a 5-set,
right,
drag down, knockout fight. He was like, prove me wrong, but he got it exactly right. And that just tells you what a great coach he is. To have that
No doubt.
feeling, to know that, this is not going to be an easy victory. We're up 2-0, but I know better than to start celebrating against a top 25 team on the road.
Well, infamously in that UK match in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago that, a lot of people point to as perhaps the greatest match that WKU volleyball has ever played despite the loss. Same thing happened where WKU went up 2-0, and he told the girls at the break, don't expect to walk out of here with 3. UK is too good, and again, you start at 0. So he's been there before. He's seen what happens in those kind of situations, particularly on the road against a really good team. And this time, thankfully, the Tops were able to lock down in the 5th and get it done.
We'll stick with the volleyball segment for now. We'll transition in a couple of Lady Tops later. Lady Tops got a big game this Wednesday against Belmont and EA de la Arena. But the volleyball team has their final 2 home matches of the season, Thursday 6 o'clock versus Louisiana Tech and Saturday versus UAB at noon. I know we talk a lot of volleyball on this station. We talk a lot on Red Towel Radio. We talk a lot even here on Sportsline. When you have a team that is as dominant as this team is, and I know we're spoiled around here because this team has great season after great season, but they still don't really get the support that they deserve necessarily for just how good of a program this has been, and not just how good of a program it's been over the last couple of years, especially this year. I mean, 26-1, a 21-game match winning streak. I think I saw a great stat that Just Life Fight put on their WKU volleyball page there. They've ended 3 of the NCAA's top 10 longest home win streaks.
That's correct.
This season. I mean, that's ridiculous to go on the road and play good teams, which is what Coach Hudson's done.
Exactly. I mean, everybody talks about how well the Tops have played at Diddle over the years, and they've got some eye-popping stats about the few losses that they've had this decade inside EA Diddle Arena, but it doesn't really matter where they go. When you're a program that's as consistent as they've been, they'll play it on the road, they'll play at a neutral site, they can compete with anyone, anywhere, at any time, and they've proven it time and time again.
Now, I know you saw the celebration on Twitter that WKU Volleyball posted from the locker room. Well, I guess that was... I wanted a bigger celebration, but I guess we're toning it down. It's still the regular season. We got to keep moving forward before the big celebrations come out, right?
I guess so, but Travis Hudson was certainly getting his warm-up in for those bigger celebrations. He got quite the vertical. I don't know if he'd out-jumped Lauren Matthews, but it would have been interesting to see.
I just want to see the Gatorade bath for Coach Hudson. We can make that happen eventually. Just no ripped trousers.
No, please. But, hey, who knows? I mean, if the Tops win both of these last 2, they'll be 14-0 in conference. They'll have won it outright on Saturday, and who knows, maybe a Gatorade bath's coming. So yet another reason to get your tickets and come to EA Diddle Arena.
And me and Zach were talking a little off air there. You mentioned their RPI. I think it's number 18. I think it's the same as their AVCA poll rating. It's definitely top 25 right now.
I want to say 22, but I'll verify that.
It might be 22. That sounds better than what I said. I think I might have made up 18, but I'm close enough.
Right. You're in the ballpark.
Top 25 RPI team. There's a good chance that if this team continues to win matches, most likely would have to win out. But they could find themselves in maybe one of those top 16 teams in the country headed into the NCAA tournament, which would give them a host, I believe, for the first 2 rounds.
That is correct. Now, obviously, anytime that, and this we see across NCAA sports, that the national poll doesn't always reflect what the selection committee is going to do.
Absolutely.
But that said, you're absolutely right. Even that they are a top 20 ranked team, they have to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I'd say they would need to win out to do that. But if you're looking at that point what would that be? They'd be 28-1 regular season, and they turn into 31-1 going into the tournament. You'd have to at least consider it, and hopefully that would work out.
And we've seen it a little kind of on the lady NCAA women's basketball tournament where those host teams, it's the best 16 teams, but it's also who can bring the most fans sometimes.
Seriously.
They look at that for sure, and especially kind of in these sports that maybe don't draw as big as basketball. I mean, the Lady Tops volleyball team has a ton of support.
Right.
And they could compete with some of those other teams in terms of, hey, how much attendance do they draw? Oh, yeah, that could be a good host site for us.
No doubt. And that's the great part about the WKU fan base is all of the sports are very well supported. And, obviously, and I echo everything that Travis Hudson has said, that Zach Greenwell said in the last segment, we want Diddle to be packed out this week for volleyball. But that is no slight to the fans and to the support that they've given throughout the time with Travis Hudson. And the same goes for Lady Topper basketball, too. I mean, I think we're very blessed here to have the women's basketball and volleyball following that we do. And quite frankly, now is just a great opportunity to take that even to the next level and show the country really what an unbelievable atmosphere and what an unbelievable program we have here.
And I mentioned the weekly award winners, Briggs Judenet and Lauren Matthews, cleaned up more weekly awards this week. This is your first year getting to work with the WKU volleyball team. So I'm not going to ask you how they compare to maybe some of the past players for WKU, but how do those three girls in particular kind of compare to some of the other competition on other teams you've seen as far as offensive hitters go or setters go or just freshmen go?
Sure. Well, for one, Paige Briggs and Nadia Judenet, and I will hesitate to say something like this, but when you look at the weekly awards that they've gotten, I don't know how someone is going to come up late in the season out of the blue and take the Freshman of the Year or Setter of the Year awards away from them, because they have gotten far more weekly honors of Freshman and Setter of the Week than anyone else, and deservedly so. I mean, Paige Briggs is putting up incredible numbers for a freshman, a lot of double-doubles for her. She plays all the way around. She had 21 kills against North Texas on Friday night in a tough building, and then came out. It was not quite as hot yesterday, but against a team like Rice, those things are going to happen. And to that point, I'll get back to Nadia Judenet in just a second, but Lauren Matthews was largely taken out of the match for a good bit yesterday, and I think that was the moment that Travis Hudson had been talking about all year, saying at some point Lauren Matthews is not going to be able to do everything that she has done over and over, hitting over 500, but I think she ended up hitting just under 400, which is still fantastic, and she led the team with 17 kills, so she found a way still to impact that match. And then people around her, Sophia Sereno had an incredible match yesterday. She was able to step up, and that's the great part about this team. And going back to Judenet, she's the one that makes all of that work. Another double-double for her yesterday. Her assist numbers have been off the chain. She had 55 assists on 75 points in a sweep against Charlotte. It's incredible stuff what she's been able to do.
And I know there are a lot of listeners out there, and me included, that we're kind of ignorant when it comes to volleyball stats in particular. So how impressive is a double-double per se for a freshman like Paige Briggs? What do some of those stats mean to some of us out there that maybe in layman's terms,
sure.
I guess?
Yeah, so a double-double, like it is in basketball, is two stats in double figures, and so for her, it's kills and digs pretty routinely that she gets those in. Outside hitters, which is her position, do tend to get a lot of digs. They play a big role defensively, but Briggs gets even more because she plays all the way around, meaning she doesn't really ever go out of the game. She'll play on defense in the back row, and so that just allows her to increase her total, and she's part of what's been a fantastic defense this season with Logan Cale at the libero spot, who's been great, and Emma Koakowski and Hallie Shelton that come in and get high-quality digs a lot. But, yeah, for someone to play as consistently as Paige Briggs has, and I heard you and Zach talking about this on the previous segment about the consistency that this team has had to play at throughout this season to get the results that they've had. But so much of that has been Briggs, who, as I've talked about on some broadcasts a number of times, gets overshadowed a lot because of what Lauren Matthews does, or the big hammers that Kaylin Jackson puts down, and yet Briggs routinely is either at a double-double or right around it, and so it's just very impressive.
It almost sounds like in basketball terms, like kind of doing the dirty work, setting those picks every now and then, doing exactly what your team needs in certain situations. I mean, that's got to be really, really valuable to have somebody that can move in all six positions around the court and play really anywhere for you at any given time.
Right. And again, as a freshman to do that, and Travis Hudson knew that when he recruited her. He said she's going to do that, and she hasn't disappointed.
We'll transition into Lady Topper basketball. Again, WKU volleyball Thursday and Saturday. Home matches versus Louisiana Tech at 6 on Thursday and versus UAB noon on Saturday. Make sure you go out to EA Diddle Arena. Support the WKU volleyball team. And we've also got more action in EA Diddle Arena earlier this week. On Wednesday, the Belmont Lady Bruins come into town. 6 o'clock tip-off, 5:30 pregame show. We got the voice of the Lady Toppers in studio, so we can't waste that. First, this weekend, a 75-62 victory over Mercer. We kind of mentioned at the top of the segment that it was not really a comeback victory for the Hilltoppers in that fourth quarter, but they had to knock down, drag out, and finish in round 15, if I'm using the boxing pun there. But they got the job done, 75-62. Who were some of the Lady Toppers that impressed you in that match or game? I'm used to volleyball.
I know.
Talking about matches in that game.
I know that happens a good bit. Even though sometimes on my spotting charts with basketball, I start writing matches because soccer and volleyball the same way. So that's been my lexicon in the fall. But I think that was the great part about that Mercer game is that so many Lady Toppers contributed to the result there. You had Raneem El-Jadawi, who nearly had a 20-20 game at 18 and 19 and was really strong with the ball, too, against a scrappy Mercer team. I mean, this team still forced 25 turnovers by WKU, and obviously that's a number that's going to have to come down, but that's how Mercer plays. They create havoc defensively. They get in your face. They create turnovers. They get out and run. And Raneem, I want to say, only had 1 or 2 turnovers in that game. I have to verify that, but I know she has taken care of the ball a lot better than she did last year through the first 2. But so she was solid. Then Whitney Creech in the fourth quarter just turned it on. She had 17 points for the day, hit 5 free throws late, couple of big threes in that one. Sherry Porter also had 2 big threes late. And Meryl Abdelgawad had threes early to get the Tops out hot. She had rebounds. Sandra Skinner, 7 rebounds in 7 minutes off the bench.
That's production.
I mean, come on.
I heard you. Of course, I work all those Lady Topper broadcasts here. Most of the Lady Topper broadcasts here in studio.
Do a great job with it.
ESPN 1027. You can listen to all the Lady Topper games all season right here on the airwaves. I remember throughout last season, one of the sticking points against this Lady Topper team was kind of their inability to rebound the basketball. That was their Achilles heel in most of their losses that came. And so far this season, it's almost the polar opposite.
Oh, yeah. Well, 2 times, if you count the exhibition against Kentucky Wesleyan and against Mercer, the Tops had over 50 rebounds and had a plus 25 against Kentucky Wesleyan, plus 24 rebound margin against Mercer. That is insane, especially considering night and day, as you said, from last season, because that was the sticking point over and over and over and over. And they did get better as it went on. Out-rebounded 5 of their last 8, did pick up 50 rebounds in the conference tournament against Old Dominion, but that was the only time they got to 50 all of last season. And now it seems that they've come back with this new attitude and commitment to doing it, and they're getting Mariah Haywood and Sandra Skinner and Fatu Pui, some of these new faces in here, and they're contributing on the glass also, and I think it's elevating what the whole team's doing.
And for those that follow the Lady Toppers, they know the names El-Jadawi, Dee Givens, Whitney Creech. Who do you think is kind of that X factor for the team this year that maybe isn't as much of a household name for the Lady Topper fans that really could play a big part down the stretch, maybe in January, February, cleaning up in conference?
It's a very, very good question, because I think this team is just a shell of what they will be as time goes on. Obviously, Alexis Brewer has not been able to play yet, and she will be back at some point this year if all goes well, and who knows how that could impact the way that she always shows up in big games. I think I'll give you kind of a 2-part answer. Number one, I think Sherry Porter is going to become an even bigger household name than perhaps she already is. She was inconsistent, I think is a good word to describe last year. Had some moments, had some games where she faded away, but she has been a game changer through the first couple of games this year, handling the ball a lot, getting in again, hitting big threes, and she and Whitney Creech both really didn't have the 3-ball in their range last year, and they're both chucking them up and knocking them down through the first couple of games, which is a great sign. And then also, I'm interested to watch the evolution of Mariah Haywood, redshirt freshman who has a lot of raw athleticism, makes a lot of plays. She's a little bit out of control right now, but once she starts figuring it out, harnessing what she can do, I think she's going to turn a lot of heads in this conference.
Tyler Eaton at Tyler Eaton Radio is in the hallway. He's ready to yell about NFL football, but really quickly before we finish up our Lady Top and WKU volleyball segment, Lady Tops host Belmont this Wednesday, 6 o'clock, again, 5:30 pregame right here on 102.7 FM. What do you want to look for out of the Lady Toppers moving through this non-conference schedule? So obviously victories, but is there a certain thing you want to see out of the Lady Toppers going through this non-conference slate?
I want to see more fight like what we saw against Mercer and quite frankly against Louisville too, because that score, you talked about how the Mercer score wasn't indicative of the game. Neither was Louisville. 19-point margin was not at all the story of that game. It was single digits, quite a bit of it. But I think if the Tops can continue to adjust to the way these teams are playing, because Mercer's a very different style than what we're going to see this week with Belmont and Central Michigan. They're more of a shooting team. They're kind of Kentucky Wesleyan-esque, and obviously the Panthers gave us some trouble a couple weeks ago. So making those adjustments, being able to compete in those games, win or lose, play them tight till the end, be able to play against those different styles and see what happens. I think that's going to be the biggest key, because a lot of these games, unlike last year in the non-conference, are more indicative of how conference is going to be played, because you don't have the Morgan States and the D2 teams, and you don't have the Notre Dames as they were last year, even Louisville with Asia Durr and Iowa and all that. It's kind of the middle ground, and these are the kind of games that Lady Toppers can look forward to in March.
And one more thing before we get you out of here. Well, you can stay around. We can hang out for the football segment. You got a new starting quarterback.
I know. It was about time somebody actually made a decision on that. Good grief.
Lady Tops again Wednesday against Belmont at 6 o'clock. I kind of forgot my question because I got off topic. I was ready for your Dwayne Haskins take. We'll get into that part.
We'll get into that. We got some time.
Lady Tops against Belmont again, 6 o'clock. Make sure you tune in here on 102.7 FM Wednesday following our outdoor shows. The Sportsline continues next. We'll yell about the NFL as we do so well here on ESPN Radio.
Building a home takes a solid foundation, frame, and roof. For a coaching staff to build a football team, they need basically the same thing. Like a solid defense, great special teams, and a productive but careful offense. At Kite Home Center, you will find the building blocks for the home of your dreams. From contractors to DIY gladiators, we have it all under one roof at Kite. So construct a winner every time. No job too big or too small. Built on service, quality, selection, and value, Kite Home Center, providing excellent quality building and decorating materials in our area. 3975 Louisville Road.
J&K Used Cars is the place to go when you need a quality automobile at an affordable price. Stop in at 670 on the bypass in Bowling Green and see this week's special. The 2006 Honda Ridgeline. Local trade comes with 4-wheel drive, good miles, leather interior, navigation and sunroof, chrome wheels, power options, and more for only $11,995. Hurry in, because at that price it won't last long. J&K Used Cars, with over 40 years of serving the community with affordable prices on quality automobiles. Visit J&K on the bypass and online at jnkusedcars.com.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
This is a Morgan & Morgan consumer message.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I am often asked, what is the value of my case? The answer, of course, depends on your injuries, liability, and the damages to you financially. And it also very much depends on the law firm you hire to represent you. Many times, firms are hired without much thought or research. All firms are not the same, not even close. I know of firms and lawyers who haven't tried a case in years, maybe never. The insurance company knows who they are, too. Some lawyers need the money more than you do. Go to forthepeople.com and look at our verdicts in court. Here you will see injuries just like yours. You will see what the insurance company offered and, more importantly, what a jury decided. You will have an idea what your case may be worth in our hands. And just because you've already hired a lawyer doesn't mean you can't fire them before it's too late. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been here at your time of need. On your cell, dial Pound Law, that's all. Offices, Bowling Green.
Victory Monday. It's so sweet here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. ESPN Radio 102.7 FM, 1450 AM, ESPNRadio1027.com. We've been talking all tops the first 48 minutes of the hour so far. WKU volleyball winners, football winners, basketball, Lady Tops winners, and they all play this week. But the big story of the week, at least in my heart of hearts, the Tennessee Titans over the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what to say, boys. I did not think I'd get to come in here on Monday and talk about a Titans win over Patrick Mahomes, so I honestly have nothing prepared.
I picked Kansas City on the merit that Matt Moore would start, and thus Tennessee would lose because it's the backup quarterback. But once Patty Mahomes was in there, you knew what was going to happen because at that point, it's a game that Tennessee should not win. And if they should not win, they win.
Yep.
It's the only thing they know how to do.
I think this was the only time my deleted tweet was 100% correct. That's exactly what I said. I said this is a game the Titans shouldn't win, so they're probably going to win. They get a bye week. Now they have 2 winnable division games out of the bye week to the Colts and the Jaguars. I think I got that out of the order. It's Jaguars, then Colts. And they're probably going to go 0-2 and drop back below 500. You know, just another.
Well, and then you have to. I didn't consider this originally when I made my pick, and you pointed out to me the Titans. What are they back at 500 now?
Oh yeah, baby.
They cannot waver outside of 1 game below or above that, and so a loss to Kansas City would have put them 2 games below. That can't happen. That's not the Titan way.
Right.
It's unreal, dude. Every year. And now we're going to re-sign Tannehill, and I'm going to wonder.
He's getting a deal.
Yeah. I'm going to wonder for 4 or 5 years if we have another quarterback or not. It's going to be awesome.
They can't get Burrow now.
All you need is the back in the Kerry Collins there. You just need to get that one AFC, the AFC South title, and then just flame out in the first round.
Kerry Collins era.
13-win season, lose at home first round.
I have a buddy
of the
that
playoffs.
loves Kerry Collins to death, and I'm not sure if it's actually. It was the one winning Titans season since McNair.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up that was really kind of funny. I saw this on Twitter today. Michael Lombardi, which if you've heard that name, he's the former Browns GM. Boo. But he has a podcast where he basically talks about front office decisions in the NFL. Quote from Michael Lombardi, I was told this summer that the coaches wanted Tannehill, but the front office was so endeared to give 8 one more look. End quote. I'd say that's probably 99.9% true.
That sounds very accurate. I think everybody on planet Earth had that mentality. Like, yeah, Tannehill's probably better, but Marcus is such a good guy. Right. He's got such a good heart. He cried when he got the Heisman. We got to give him one more chance.
And there was a lot of money tied up in him too. So I mean, you don't necessarily
not
just.
Now.
Well, yeah, not this summer. There won't be, but. There was a lot of money tied up going into week 1, so it would have been pretty hard to explain to the fan base at first why is the guy that's making almost $20 million sitting on the bench not getting a chance to go out there.
Yeah,
but
especially when you're replacing him with Ryan Tannehill, who's highly maligned. So
it's just it's crazy, man. Of course, what's funny is the way the Titans have won. It's been far from pretty. At one point in that game, the Kansas City Chiefs had 31 passing attempts. 20 rushing attempts. They had 51 plays. The Titans had run 11 passes and 12 rushes.
Wow.
And it was a 2-point game. It's just kind of
they did
the
not
way
win
they're going to
one
win.
category, statistically. There was no reason they should have won that game.
Rushing
Beyond
yards.
the fact that Kansas City was the better team. That's it. That's all that matters. You can throw the numbers out the window.
I just want to thank Andy Reid for breaking out the playoff playbook early this year.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate that, Andy.
And part of that playbook includes a defense that can't defend anything. So.
Oh, my goodness. And what a snapper that can't get the ball to his holder.
Oh,
when
my
he's
goodness.
looking one way, then he gets... See, when that play unfolded, I was like, dude, somebody's got to be streaking down the left sideline, wide open, touchdown. But you were at the game, Garrett, so you're probably sitting there just like, what is this?
Well,
but on the TV, they hadn't flipped it over, so you're like, dude, perfect trick play. This one's over. You can go ahead and wrap it up.
My classic fan chant every time the punter or the kicker comes onto the field, it's snap it over his head.
There you go.
And usually they never snap it over his head. He snapped it into his feet. He did the exact
He wasn't even
opposite. I'll
looking.
take that.
I don't understand that.
And then the best part about that was there was a Canadian guy sitting behind me that had never been to a football game his entire life. And I had to try to explain to this man what the holder was doing and why they couldn't kick the ball.
Oh my!
It was impossible, but I didn't really care because I was too happy that they just blew that field goal. Oh, it's a beautiful day when the Titans win. Just give me 2 weeks and I'll be back on here as gloomy as I was 2 weeks ago.
That's the Titan way. Tighten up, baby.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have our deleted tweet segment, red hot. I'm telling you, this week we may have the hottest deleted tweet of all time. And, of course, we got Gambling Garrett. I went undefeated last week.
I'm so proud of you.
With a tie. Does that count?
What?
Coming back, ESPN Radio.
It'll be here before you know it. Willow Oaks Golf Club would love to host your holiday party. Small gathering, the fireplace room is nice and cozy. Larger party, the ballroom transforms into a winter wonderland. Willow Oaks members get the perk of first priority. So if you're interested, you're encouraged to reserve as soon as possible. Corporate events and wedding rentals are available now to the public. Call Jason at Willow Oaks Golf Club at 270-308-OAKS to discuss details and schedule your holiday event. Whether large, small, or mini, seems like there's always a home project. Super Home Surplus can help with it all, but maybe you only have time for a mini makeover for the holidays. Something simple and easy like a hardware facelift on the cabinets or change out a bath vanity. How about that light fixture you can't look at one more day? Mini makeovers always improve the look. Super Home Surplus has the best selection at the best price. Visit your interior remodeling superstore, 2326 Russellville Road in Bowling Green.
Shh, listen. That's a bullfrog. What's that? A cicada. That's an owl. Wait, what's that?
Oh, the Camptown ladies sing this song.
I think that's a donkey.
The swamp town mud hole stinks so strong. Oh, da do da oh.
Shrek!
Hey, kids.
Hi.
That little cicada bug's got nothing on me, right?
Donkey, give the children a little space.
Oh, they got plenty of space, Shrek. Wide open forest space. Why you always telling me to calm down and be quiet? Give them space. Do I talk too much? I'm real good at being quiet. I'm quiet right there. Quiet again. Donkey quiet. Snail quiet. Turtle quiet.
Get out and explore nature. You never know what you might find. To learn more about all the fun stuff waiting for you outdoors, go to discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org. This message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So, kids, you know some consider slugs a delicacy.
Ew!
Suavemente, bésame, que quiero sentir tus labios besándome otra vez.
Local Sports Center, ESPN Radio 102.7 FM, ESPNRadio1027.com. Weekend sweep for the Hilltoppers sports teams and the Tennessee Titans, 35-32 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming up this week, Wednesday, EA Diddle Arena, Belmont Lady Bruins versus the Lady Tops at 6 o'clock, 5:30 pregame, right here on ESPN. Friday, WKU men's basketball on the road in Richmond versus EKU at 6. And then, of course, the WKU volleyball team. I can't even read my own notes. WKU volleyball this Thursday and Saturday. Thursday at 6 versus Louisiana Tech, the final two home games of the regular season. And Saturday, noon versus UAB, a chance to take home that Conference USA regular season crown. And now, transition. Thank you, Mr. Elvis Crespo. Y'all ever listen to Elvis Crespo before?
Suavemente.
Suavemente. Okay, I was just making sure we had that under control. Elvis Crespo is my guy, but you know what's bigger than that?
What?
The deleted tweet segment.
From freezing cold takes to that 1 a.m. mistake, it's deleted tweets.
We're running low on time, so forget good transitions. I just do it how I want it. The Evansville Purple Aces.
Yeah, I'm going to be on. Before you even go, this is going to be so big, I don't even have a deleted tweet to follow it up with. I don't know about you, Brett, but you go ahead, Garrett.
Those Purple Aces are 1-0. They got a victory over Ball State to start the season. 3-point victory, mind you, at home in Evansville.
Where are they at next, Garrett?
They're going to go on the road to Rupp Arena tomorrow night. UK coming off that big victory over Michigan State. They're feeling themselves, just a little bit too much. Headed into tomorrow night. And we've got something on our side for those Purple Aces up in Evansville. Former Lady Topper voice, Jevin Redmond, is now voice of the Purple Aces. And I don't know, I just got this weird feeling that it's going to be a tough time in Rupp Arena tomorrow night.
That's not how you
for
put
the Wildcats.
You tell everyone listening exactly what you told us is going to happen.
Evansville will pull off the shocker of the season when they go into Rupp Arena tomorrow night, and they take down the #1 Kentucky Wildcats by at least double digits.
Oh.
I walk off.
That is unmatched.
Can we press the delete button right now?
Like maybe if this was a gambling Garrett thing and you were taking Evansville, I think they're favored to lose by 25,
Yeah.
That's acceptable. But that right there might just compare to the Delano Benton take.
I have no.
It has a challenger.
I don't know what the underdog money line is, but pound it.
Oh my!
We'll switch gears into another terrible segment. That's Gambling Garrett, and brings me my most pain most of the time each week because usually I'm wrong. I started out 0-4, moved to 1-5. Tyler, I'm 3-1 the last couple of weeks.
Well, I can promise you just started this week 0-1. I can guarantee.
All right, well, I'll give mine real quick. We got a minute left. Seattle, +6 tonight at San Fran. They're undefeated. I still don't believe in them. That's my logic behind that pick. The Saints -5.5 at Tampa Bay. Saints revenge game after the Falcons loss, and the Buccaneers, they have Jameis Winston.
Jets 1.5-point underdogs at Washington, bro. I'm sorry. I got to take the Jets as my dog. My favorite, Dallas in Detroit. Cowboys favored by 3. I think they win by more.
This is not going to make a lot of Bills Mafia here in Bowling Green, but Bills given 5.5, or Bills favored by 5.5 against the Dolphins. Something about Miami. Something's in the water down there, and it's AFC East. The Bills lost to the Browns. Give me the Fins. And for my favorite, Raiders favored by 10 over the Bengals. They're going to cruise on that. And maybe a deleted tweet for you. Raiders going to win the AFC West. There will be playoff football in the Coliseum before they move to Vegas.
We've turned Brett into a hot take monster. Oh, I love this show.
Redskins
Sportsline.
to the Super Bowl next year.
ESPN Radio.